Chat's not going to be as big. I'm not going to be as big. Whatevs. I don't think I care. Great. So this looks like it'll work. So, oh yeah, Wandering Winder. Do you want to Skype? I've got this Jones green apple soda with what appears to be an inflatable duck floating in a pond on the label. Let's go ahead and open this. Here, take a listen. And the fortune says, your anxieties are beginning to clear. Go ahead and call me when you're ready, Wandering Winder. Actually, I was a little anxious about playing Dominion, so now they're beginning to clear. First product placement of the week. Here, Lexi, come on. Come on. Until Wandering Winder gets here, Lexi, you can be my streaming co-host. Hi. Oh, you're slipping, puppy. Yeah, I know. This is uncomfortable. There we go. Is this good? Is this good? Yeah. Hi, puppy. You're an internet star. Now product place Lexi's shampoo. I don't know. The kind we tried for her is a little expensive. We might do something cheaper next time. So I don't know if I'm enthusiastic about it enough to product place it. Get your eye boogers so you look good for the internet. Who knows? All the boys could be watching. You need to be beautiful. You're already beautiful. Let's talk about alms. Alms, so it's, oh yeah, events. I guess I didn't actually go over this. Events are in the kingdom. They're not cards. They're not kingdom cards, but you can spend a buy on them. And then it does a thing. So, that's what events are. They don't go in your deck. They're not cards, so like cost reduction that applies to cards doesn't apply to them. But they're events. You spend a buy on them, but you're not buying a card. Great, let's talk about alms. Alms is a $0 event, so it only costs you a buy. It says once per turn, if you have no treasures in play, gain a card costing up to 4. What this basically means, and there are very few exceptions to this. Like, you might be able to break it with, like, mint or something, but it's rarely going to be profitable. What this means is that every turn you get at least $4, right? If you had less than $4 on your buy, hey, now you got $4. Great, you just don't play your treasures, and then you can do this. Oh, also, double tactician. Yeah, that actually seems pretty good. If you're not using treasures as your payload anyway, it could essentially be like $4. If you were gonna, it's like $4 basically that you don't have to do very much to do to activate. Right, Lexi? Thank you for your approval there. So, well, okay. So the most obvious time you're going to see this is in the opening, right? I mean, 4/4 openings are always going to be possible with alms out. Yeah, effective 4/4 openings. I mean, you can't like do two $4 events. So if there's a $4 event, you couldn't do two of those necessarily. But like, you know, if you don't have $4, you can always hit 4. So like, maybe if you're worried about hitting 4, like alms can be good. Other than that, like it's tactical. It's like, oh, I can buy. You know, instead of having a line of 4 cards and then the 3s and the 2s, like, oh, they're all in the same line because you can like always get them. You know. So that's the thing. But it's not always like that in engines because you only get to do it once and you can't play your treasures. So like that's basically alms. It's not game breaking, but tactically it does provide you with certain advantages, and it's kind of nice. It provides a different feel for a game. So that's good. Oh snap! Now this is super zoomed out. Whatever. Wow, borrow is huge. Oh, borrow was previewed, that's why. Well, I don't need to do it. I previewed it, so I don't need to do it. Hi. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Oh, that's no bueno. Quest. I didn't talk about Quest in my last thing. Hello? Can you hear me? Huh? I think I hear you. I heard something that sounded like a click. Oh? Oh? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you
Adam?
now.
You can hear me now?
Yes?
Ah! Okay, great. What are we talking about? Uh,
Oh, I'll share my screen with you. The
man,
boss.
Alm's heart.
Yeah,
Um,
Alms is nice. You're never sad that it's there, right? I mean, well, I guess you can be, but it doesn't feel bad. I have a dog. Isn't she cute? Can you see her?
yes, I can. And I don't
she's
know. I guess she's somewhat cute.
she's a
I
little
don't
annoyed right now, but
I don't know if cute is the word I would go for, but it's a nice looking dog.
oh, thanks. Let's talk about
When I think cute, I think of like 5-month-old baby humans.
Yeah, okay, fine. I get you.
Anyway, it's a nice looking dog, and we're talking about Quest.
Yeah, let's talk about Quest. So Quest is a $0 event, only costs you a buy. It says you may discard an
Yep.
attack, 2 curses, or 6 cards. If you do, gain a gold. So this is okay. Goodbye. Oh, goodbye, dog.
Doge.
Goodbye, Doge. Oh man, I'm covered in your hair now. Imagine that. So like Quest, it's good when you want gold. Obviously, it gains you gold. Uh,
Yeah.
it's good when you have curses, and when you have curses, a lot of times you want gold. So that's nice. And
That seems to be like the biggest use for it. I don't know. It seems like it's probably not that strong compared to like most of the other ones, but I'm sure it's going to have its uses. Like in a junking big money witch, like you're going
yeah,
to have 6 cards or 2 curses and not be able to make a gold anyway pretty often. Or you're going to have 2 curses, discard them, get a gold and something else. But
yeah. I mean, you have to have multiple buys for that, which is tough in a witch game.
that's true.
But
I
like,
guess you know, you can also discard an attack. I don't know.
I mean, you draw an attack dead, you draw your witch dead, you get a gold
Yeah,
for it. I mean, there are lots of ways you can activate it in a witch game. I mean,
sure.
there are engine possibilities. The big one that comes to mind is Ambassador. The interaction with Ambassador here is really good. You can just get super thin, super thin, and then when you want to
Yeah,
decide to add money payload to your deck, it's very easy to
you
do
just get a
because
gold.
you just like don't play one of your ambassadors. Maybe you couldn't play
Sure,
both of them
that makes a
anyway.
lot of sense.
So that's another cool interaction. Finally, like there are those engines where like I mean I'm just trying to think of a case where like you want gold so bad that like you're gonna pick up curses to get this. I mean I just don't think that's
Ooh,
ever
pick
gonna
up
be good.
curses? I would think that it's more like if you have an engine, I'm gonna be able to have 6 cards. Like maybe I have an engine with not great trashing, and I can discard my 3 estates and 3 coppers, and that's worth it because I need money now.
Yeah, I mean that's
I mean, I don't imagine that to be like a huge earth-shattering thing, but it can definitely be helpful.
I mean if there's an attack on the board, you're basically always gonna want to be discarding attacks instead of curses because the attack could potentially be useful.
Well, unless it's a cursing attack and you just have a bunch of curses.
Cultist, Wild Village remake. Yeah, I guess Quest could have been good there. Yeah, yeah,
Well, actually, yeah, cultist would seem to be like it could definitely be a card that this would be good with because
oh yeah.
you end up drawing a
Similar
bunch
to
of
Witch, yeah.
cards and have a bunch of well, but you draw like more cards with this. I don't know.
I'm trying to think of like getting it to work with Ruin Market, but That's just
Well,
probably
you
not going to
need some
happen.
kind of village, like a, I don't know, workers' village or a hamlet as well, or something. I don't know.
Maybe if your deck sucks and you have a Ruin Market and a Cultist in hand, you can play the Ruin Market instead and maybe get like gold, silver, or
Well, you
something.
have like you're at the end of a shuffle, and you have a ruined market and three cultists. You get
There.
or two cultists. You get two golds.
Hey, yeah. They're locked. Quest is another like a lot of these $0 events are tactical plays. Like yes,
Right.
you can enable a deck that will make it happen, but like
You already talked about borrow.
I Borrow was previewed, so I talked about it
Yeah.
back
Okay.
then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You weren't going over the previewed ones. I forgot about that. What was that? Hello? Oh, hey.
Just a moment.
I figured.
Anyway, did you have anything more to say about Quest?
Don't think so.
Okay. What do you think of this? I don't know what that means, JSH. Save.
Oh, save is hot.
Whoa, yeah, you're into that, huh? Wandering Winder.
Oh,
Save
I
wasn't
didn't mean the I
previewed.
didn't mean
There
the
we go.
art. I meant the event.
Save is cool. So like save gives you a buy and it costs $1. So this one doesn't cost you a
Right.
buy, costs you $1. It says once per turn,
Right.
set aside a card from your hand and put it into your hand at the end of turn after drawing. So
It's the
like
haven I always wanted Haven to be.
yeah, like save is useful pretty much every time you're not spending all of your
All your
dollars on a
money.
turn. Like it's
Well,
almost always useful. Like you can make
um,
even if you're only making an estate miss a shuffle with it, like that's still good. If you have $2 extra, you can save a copper for next turn. Did you draw something
yeah,
dead? You can save it for next turn. Like it
yeah,
has
yeah, yeah,
all of
yeah,
those uses. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
The question that comes to my mind is how often is it good enough to buy something a little bit worse? And I'm gonna guess probably not very
yeah.
often, but
Rarely.
occasionally. Like if it's very like, say there's village and walled village, and I already have a huge engine. Well, the difference between those two cards isn't very good, or isn't very big, especially once I already have a big engine going. Like I'm not going to use
Yeah.
that walled village effect, so then it might be worth it. But
Yeah. Uh, Leopold pointed out it's gone from the screen now, but save moat, like that's really good. I mean that shuts down
well,
attacks.
I mean that's a nice interaction, but
Save in any
I
kind of
guess no. I
reaction
guess that
card,
that
like
that makes sense. That makes sense.
that's way better than like top decking watchtowers to get watchtower coverage. It's super way better. I mean,
Well, I mean,
even though you draw less with watchtower, like it's still
the thing is
still
you're
really
you're
good.
never playing the card, right? So it's basically I'm spending a money every turn, and I have this card, which isn't really taking up space because it's a
Yeah, you
sixth
don't
card
have to
in my
draw
hand.
it. Yeah.
But I had to spend a buy and some money on it, and I'm spending a money every turn. Um,
I mean, if there's an
yeah,
attack you
Steph
don't want
Steph
to be
points
hit
out
by,
rightly that this is not good against discard attacks. Although the moat thing would be.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
But like save is almost always useful. Like I
yeah,
remember the first several save games I played, like I would just totally forget that I need to be doing this every turn or thinking
yeah,
about
yeah.
doing it every turn. Every turn. Like you open 3-4, you probably want to be saving. Like
It just helps you like a little bit, but a little bit every turn has to add up a lot.
yeah, it's a big
And
deal.
probably not like every turn, especially early on. But I mean, I don't know about the math on things, but like you may want to forego some cards early if like it gets you to your 5 or your 6.
Oh yeah.
Like that's a thing. You got to do some math there. So that's
Gone
probably
are the
something I'll try to
days
do.
of opening double silver
Or bluff.
just to hit 5. Nay, I can save my coppers and not put silvers in my deck that I don't want.
Well, you probably still wanna, you know,
I mean, if you
get at
open
least one.
4-3, maybe it's not so good, but like,
Well, you probably want to get at least one silver if you want to hit five anyway. But
it depends on the
often,
board.
like, well, yes, it always depends on the board. But like, often one silver is okay anyway. Like, you don't
Yeah,
need one silver. You will probably get there. It's just two silvers. You're very, very likely.
totes.
And with save, the chances just have to go up and up and up.
Yeah, save is. I mean, just whenever save's on the board, just always think about it, and most of the time you use it. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, I find it hard to imagine a game where I would never use it the whole game.
yeah, I would say that's
I
true.
can imagine turns I wouldn't, but games, no. Like it's just so hard. Well, I was gonna say golden deck, but even there, like you're gonna use it as some early. Anyway, moving on.
Scouting party. So this one gives you
Woo!
buy, and it costs $2. So it's only it only costs you $2. Doesn't cost you buy. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, discard 3 of them, put the rest back in any order. So, I mean, we can't talk about this card without talking about this, right?
The art,
This guy in particular. Like,
the the scout.
the scout pose. I mean, I remember there's a picture of Rob's doing the scout pose. And, like, it was this. This is the scout pose. Like, this is it. This is iconic now. This pose is just as iconic as the scout meme. It means everything. And so like to pay homage to that, knowing that we have this card, I remember we had a lot of cards that came up in play testing that at one point in time were named Scouting Party. Now some of them eventually got their names changed to something else, maybe to a card that's
Well,
in the set. Some of the cards,
pretty clearly, considering that they're not going to make more than one
right?
card.
And this is before like events existed even. Uh, so this, of course, didn't exist, and you know, some of them just just died or like got changed to other names for because it was. But anyway, I remember with my IRL group, like they saw the card Scouting Party, and they're like, "Oh, I can make Scout good now!" And they were so happy to see like when their Scouting Party got cut that like, oh, at least there's another card called Scouting
Just
Party. There has to
just to
be one.
clarify, just to clarify, this event does not make scout good, does it? Like there's
No,
no way, right?
no,
Like
there's no
it may be
synergy.
a better it may be a better version of
Yeah,
Scout, but like it
yeah,
doesn't actually make the actual card Scout
yeah.
good.
So here's the thing about Scouting Party.
Yeah.
Um, I remember playing a game against Last Footnote on Isotropic. He opened
Whoa.
3-4, and he
Yeah.
opened Tunnel. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why would you open Tunnel on this board? The only Tunnel enablers cost 5 or more. And then, and then his second turn, he got 2 Scouting Parties and 2 golds. And I'm like, oh, hey, that's that's pretty good.
So what you're saying is by turn three he had two golds.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And like he had top decked one of them. It was bonkers. Like
Yeah,
Scouting
I
Party
don't.
Tunnel is amazeballs.
You know, Big Money's not great, but
Scouting
if
Party
you could
Tunnel.
get two golds by turn three, that seems pretty good.
Yeah, and then like you can sift through your deck, gain golds, and top deck 2 golds. Like it's really stinking good.
Okay.
But
Apart from that, like obviously, if you have a spare two, you're usually well. I guess
see, here's the
I don't know.
thing.
It could
Like
trigger the shuffle a lot.
this effect, like
Yeah.
it's first of all, it doesn't stack very well unless you're wanting to discard cards for basically only tunnel or for like getting a
Yeah.
clean
Sure.
shuffle. But like this effect really isn't like super great. Like it's not like save its effect hot.
Right.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
those
Yeah.
effects were really good. This effect really isn't all that good because like
Well,
you're skipping 3 cards. If you turn up 3 good cards in your next hand, like you're skipping one of them. And like depending on your deck, Like you could end
Yeah, but
up that's not very good.
I'm having a hard time coming up with a deck that it won't be worth it to take the risk. Like, I mean, assuming that you have like forget what it costs for a second.
Found it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, QMEC. Anyway, go ahead.
Like I think the thing is it costs two, which is not like one is pretty insignificant. It's pretty often that you don't want to use it, but costing two and then triggering shuffles could really be a big thing. Um,
This is
or
true.
if you're just obviously if you're drawing your whole deck anyway, there won't be anything in the discard
Yeah. I mean,
to
you
set up.
can
But
it's difficult because like you have to discard the three. So like you can't even use this to like seed your next hand with good cards unless you have three things you want to discard. And if you're gaining that
right,
many cards per turn, like yeah, of course you can probably spare $2
yeah,
on this
yeah.
without
Steph
using a
points
buy.
out, and this is what I was thinking. It's nice for engines that are trying to start up. Like it's pretty good at getting you a village and a smithy, right? Like if you have
Hmm.
the extra two money to spare, which you will reasonably often towards the
Yeah,
turn
it can happen.
six kind of
Especially
area.
if you're thinning and you're not done thinning yet. I mean, that's pretty good. If you have your trasher in hand, like scouting party is a great buy because you want to sift past this stuff. You don't mind discarding the things you want to trash because you can't trash them in the shuffle. You can just skip
Hey,
past
hey,
them. So that's really good.
turn three, you get Chapel, Silver, and three other cards. You get back to that Chapel a lot faster.
It's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, with Chapel, it's probably more limited in its usefulness, but like with other
Well, yeah,
trashers that
yeah.
aren't going to trash your whole hand, like that's super good.
Once you're already thin, it doesn't do much for you. So, like the
Yeah.
window is pretty narrow, but in spots again, it's a tactical thing.
Yeah, yeah. This is definitely a tactical card. Like you certainly are not going to change your strategy because of the presence of this card. But like,
Yep.
and
Well,
it's
unless
not going to have that huge helping effect. But you can make use out of it.
you
It's
you
certainly
could change
good.
your strategy for tunnel with this card,
Okay.
but
Yes.
other than that, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. And this guy.
Okay, next.
Oh, traveling fair. Oh man, this card. Wow. I've never seen the artwork for this card. Why are they all different sizes? Okay.
Okay,
Traveling fair.
this to me seems like it's just like a I have an engine that would work, except there's no plus buy mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, the top decking can be nice, but it's usually not worth two money.
Yeah. Uh,
Like,
I want to read the text. It's
yeah,
$2 event. It gives you a buy. It gives you two buys. So you spend a buy and you get two buys back.
you
So it's
net a buy. Yeah,
you
yeah,
plus it's effectively plus one buy for only $2. You're spending $2 on a buy, and then when you gain a card this turn, you can put it on top of your deck. Now this is an event you can only trigger it in your buy phase. So the mid-turn gain shenanigans, that's not going to work. I mean, you can't
right.
even buy an event with black market. So currently there's no way to make this work mid-turn. So it's always yeah. I mean, I don't know what
No,
kind of stuff
I'm
Donald's going to
saying
come up
currently
with.
because that's hot. Anyway, go on.
Anyway, please continue.
Oh, I don't really have much to say about it. I think like
Yeah, so it's a plus
if
buy. That's
if you really need the buys and you have a bunch of money,
yeah, you can
that's
build
what
your
it's
deck
for.
very differently this way, and sometimes you have to. So immediately, heart heart for this card, like it makes games of Dominion feel different because you do different things in order to enable this. If this is your only plus buy, super
Sure.
good. When you
Sure.
gain a card, this
I knew that the chat was going to have something where the top decking was huge, and they pointed out Chapel turn one with $4.
oh snap,
Like, yeah, okay, yes, obviously.
yeah,
Um,
it's kind of like a stonemason variant. You're paying $2 to get a plus buy. Oh wait, no, it's not nearly as good as stonemason. Never mind. JK guys.
and yeah, I'm sure the top decking will be nice in a lot of cases. Like, I'm buying something that's cheaper anyway. I just don't imagine that it's going to be very often that it's like, well, I would otherwise use all my money, but I'm really going to spend the two just to get the top deck. Like, I, I don't know. I could be wrong. Like,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
if you're
I'm sure there'll be cases,
in
but I
engines,
don't
like,
imagine that's
I could see it in engines with light or no trashing. Like, yeah, I would probably do this. But again, I'm probably also using the buy in that case. And the top decking might just be an
yeah.
afterthought. So yeah. But traveling fair, it's fun. Like, I love this card. So good.
Oh.
Bonfire. Come on.
Do 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 do. Whoa.
Why is this always not the same size? Bonfire, $3 event. Trash up to 2 cards you have in play. So this is good for copper trashing, basically. Like,
Yeah.
that's what you use this for. You spend three
Hey,
coppers, you get to trash 2 of them.
with inheritance, you could estate trash. Oh wait.
Yeah, you could, but then why did you do
Yes,
that?
that's why I said oh wait. It was a joke. Yeah. I guess you might trash. Oh well, ruins is the other thing, right?
Oh,
You can trash
yeah.
ruins with this.
Totally trash ruins. Uh,
But
this.
besides that, like I guess you might trash silvers or something at some point. But like
Hmm. I mean,
when the question is between do I want a silver or do I not want a silver,
if
like
you already
it's not
have it,
that
like,
often. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
it's
a lot of the
probably
times it's
wanted
like
it.
I don't want it. Well, I mean maybe early you needed to get to
Of
some price
course,
point.
yeah,
But I imagine usually it's for copper trashing and ruin cleanup.
for sure. I do want to. JSH did point out the art. So like, there are a couple things going on here that I want to point out. First of all, that like the I don't. That's really scary. But anyway, these people appear to be having a good time. But like the two guys are drinking, but this lady, I mean, maybe she's already had too much to drink.
It kind of looks like she's like holding on to the guy like she can't stand up straight.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, oh, there's more merriment happening back here. I imagine maybe these barrels are full of ale, but maybe I don't know what's going through this guy's mind,
Well,
but
I imagine that the barrels are full of just air because I've played too much Donkey Kong. But
oh, Leopold says, guys, you are missing the real combo here, rats. So, like, hey, bonfire rats, that's a way to estate trash, question mark, except now you have rats in your deck, so no. Also, you don't really get to use the benefit
and
of that
you
plus
had to
one
spend
card.
$3 in a buy, and like I mean maybe you can do it sometimes, but I don't. JSH did point out though that you can trash your trashers. So like I've chapeled everything down. Now I can play my chapel and get rid of it.
Hmm.
So that's a thing.
Oh, yeah. So
But I do have to spend $3 in a buy to do that. I mean, probably it's worth it at some
not
point.
insignificant. Opening bonfire, that's cool. I mean, it will hurt
Is
your
that
economy, but like sometimes
good
that's what you want to
very
do.
often?
Reasonably, you want a thin deck. I mean, Page Bonfire, hello, like, or
Page.
Page or
Which one's
Peasant,
Page?
the
Oh yeah,
champion.
yeah.
Page or Peasant Bonfire, like that's a big deal. Like
Yeah.
Bonfire
That makes
will
sense.
cycle you quite a bit.
I'm sure there are cases. I just like I don't know how because like usually you want to hit 5, and trashing 3 coppers or trashing 2 coppers, I guess, and getting something like you're not. I don't know. If there's cheap stuff you want and you can start building from cheap stuff, then yeah, it seems great.
It works very well with
Otherwise, it seems like
gainers.
at some point, yeah, gainers make a lot of sense.
Hmm. Like those seem like the main synergies. When thinness is the only thing that matters, and then like
Right,
gainers, or
right.
like with tournament or stuff like that, or treasure map, or there's mild synergy there if you can otherwise enable those kind of things.
Yep, cool. Next.
Expedition that was previewed, Fairy.
Very okay. This seems like the most broken. Okay, I'll let you talk about it in a second.
I'll just read the text and then you can go
Yeah.
nuts. So they're all different sizes. Fairy, it's a $3 event. Costs you $3 in a buy. Move your -2 cost token to an action supply pile. Cards from that pile cost 2 less, not less than 0. I guess that only matters for Poorhouse. Heh, lol. Fairy, it's cost reduction. You want a lot of a card. You put a fairy on it, now you can get it super easy. And then opening fairy, right? With a fairy, unless you like, you can always get a $5 card on your opening with fairy on the board. So that's always a thing that
Well,
you can do.
yeah, you're gonna be unhappy to have a 5/2 probably though.
This is true, yeah. Or a 2/5, because like the
With
fairy's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
good if
yeah,
you
yeah.
want a lot of that card. So anyway, please, Wandering
This
Winder,
card
go.
just seems so well. I'm gonna say card, even though it's technically not in the rules a card, but like it's on a card, so I'm gonna call it a card
Yeah,
anyway. So I'm sticking my tongue out at you, anybody who's gonna be pedantic and be like, it's not
uh,
technically a card. Anyway, this card seems broken.
well, the event
Um,
card is actually a card, but when you buy it, you're triggering an event.
right, you're not buying a card, you are triggering an event.
Yeah.
Sure.
I need to shut the window.
Um,
I mean, cost reduction is broken, right? I
well,
mean, a
just
lot
like
of the things in Dominion are balanced because of their cost. And so anytime you reduce the cost of something, there's going to be things that you can use to do things that feel very
just as the
broken.
baseline, like most of the time there's a good 5 cost action. And you're just going to like open this, buy that, just buy that every turn.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, you just as a baseline. Now, sometimes there's going to be stuff that's better, but wow. I mean, like, there is, and there's so many like people have been. I remember talking about a bunch of stuff, and people would be like, well, like, oh, what's the name of that card? The Artificer. And people would be like, but with fairy, like you can gain 2 of them like all the time, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not because Artificer's completely nutso. Like I'm sure it's fine and pretty good in a lot of cases, but like that's because fairy is nuts. Like you get anything with plus bot, like, and then once you've piled out that pile, you move it to another pile and do the same, and then it's just like you have to worry
And then
about 3 pile
and then
endings and
3
stuff.
piles are
But
gone, yeah. Like you can just threaten a 3 pile with this token. And then like your opponent has to do something about that.
well, also like if plus buys are plentiful, like
You
you
could
can
empty a
use this
pile.
as your first buy, and then buy a bunch of other stuff that
Yeah.
wasn't cheap before the turn started. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. This seems like the most powerful thing. Like I don't understand how it only costs 3. Like it
It
could
costs
easily cost 5.
I mean, okay, so like Quarry is very similar. The similarities between this and Quarry are striking, right? I mean, they reduce action cost by $2. The effect is the
Yeah,
same.
but for
Now,
Quarry you have to put a copper in your deck and spend 4 on it.
right, but it stacks and it works on all actions. Fairy, you have to spend your buy on it just like that. Only you don't have to draw it, but it only works on the one action, and then you have to move it.
But it also works every turn. You don't have to draw your Quarry.
Right, right. You don't have to draw it. I mean, let me. It's really good. Okay,
So
very super good.
they're saying it used to cost 4 and it costs 3 to make openings more balanced. Blah blah. Sure, I understand that. I think it could cost 5.
The difference between 3 and 4 is not that much, but I mean, there's no secret about this. Donald loves things that mess with the opening, and Fairy messes with the opening in a beautiful way.
I see. I don't know if I'm going to think that it's a beautiful way. I think I'm going to think it's an overpowered way. But whatever.
I think Stonemason is overpowered in that way, and you love it. Potato, potato.
You stonemason, like you need a lot of. I don't know. Anyway. Yes, I'm sure on 5. If it cost 5, it would be nuts on 5 too. Much like many action cards.
Yeah, but I mean, Fairy, it's stinking good, and it's good. It shines a lot more when there's one thing you want to spam. So like the obvious synergies are like minion. That's the big one. Like you put a Fairy on minion, you're just
I was
draining the
thinking like
minions and
hunting party and market and like just like any spammable 5 cost.
that's true. I was also Haggler. Like you can get a Haggler, and you can. I mean, if there's, it can make
Yeah,
Haggler
there's
good.
some of the stuff that it's like the cost less or whatever, or
Yeah, you can do like
remodel, like you can remodel your estates into 6s.
oh yeah, like this is the hype is real. The fairy hype
Okay.
is real.
So my oh my gosh, this is the most powerful thing ever is not too far off.
I mean, there are things in adventures
I
that are
mean,
more
I'm
powerful,
sure
but
that's a
yeah,
slight exaggeration, but
this is really good.
actually, in the game, I'm not sure that it's an exaggeration. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there are situations like yeah, I don't know. King's Court can be better, you know, Mountebank can be better, whatever. But yeah, it seems crazy good. Anyway, I guess we should move on.
Plan $3 event. Costs you buying $3. Move your trashing token to an action supply pile. When you buy a card from that pile, you may trash a card from your hand. This is yet another way to thin your deck without leaving the remnants of your trasher in your deck.
Yeah,
This is slow,
yeah.
and it also like you a lot of
This
spammable
seems like it
cards.
really needs to have a good partner.
Yeah, and it can be tough to find that because like a lot of spammable cards cost 5, and if you're costing 5, like yeah, sure you can get your estates out
I'm
with it,
thinking,
but like
I'm
coppers
thinking
is
wishing
harder.
well.
Yeah, like spammable threes are really what this thing wants.
Threes, fours probably also like tournament or some of the villages maybe, but it's not like you're going to be able to go nuts.
Yeah, you really want to pair this with something as cheap as possible. Uh,
Advisor could be a good pair.
it could be, but I mean, again, that costs 4, and like 3 is so much better than 4 when it comes to planning parts, and $2 is even better. Like
Sure.
if I can turn all my cards into pearl divers, like yeah, I
I
want
mean,
that.
like the thing to note why three is so much better than four, I assume, is because you have to have that card in your hand. So once your three estates are gone, like
Yeah,
you need to not play that copper.
yeah,
And
and
people
that's a
are not
big
going to
deal.
be playing all their treasures all the time in this set. Oh my gosh.
And the other thing is, I mean, obviously with openings, like you open 4-3 or 3-4, like you can trash an estate before you ever have to draw it for a second time. And that makes opening plan quite good a lot of the time. I mean, if you want a thin and there's an action you want a lot of that you can buy on turn 2, like
Yeah,
yeah, you're
sure.
totally opening plan. And like yeah, you're going to get a mondo benefit from that.
Yeah. Well, I would think that you would usually want to open it if you have your spammable three or four, like if you have something that you can
Absolutely.
get on turn two.
And that's a
But
place where plan shines. In spammable 5, it's just so much worse.
like, yeah, if it's something like that, then it's like you're gonna really be hurting for trashing. I think that you would want to do this
Yes,
to make you want to do this.
I agree. Uh, I mean, when you can open with this, the opportunity cost of it is next to nothing. Trashing that estate
Well, it's
before
a
you
silver, but
or another thing that you could buy, but like trashing that
man,
estate that quickly is just
I
so
will
worth
say
it.
that if it didn't say action, like this card would probably be real good because opening plan silver would be just
Yeah.
like
Steph says, I don't think the target is all that relevant, actually. I'd be totally okay putting plan on laboratory. That's fine. It's still good. I mean, that's still good, but I just think plan is so much better when you have something cheap to put it on.
I like good is a relative term, right?
Yes.
Like it may well fairly often be the best thing to do, which I guess makes it good, but I don't think it's like good like I don't know what's something that's a really like King's Court on
Bridge.
in a big engine board. I don't know. Yeah, King's Court Bridge. I don't know.
That's also really good, by the way. Yeah.
Is it?
Kingsford Bridge, it's pretty good.
I don't know. I want to point out again, like you guys probably all know all this stuff better than me. Because I haven't played with any of these at all yet. Although I may be trying to go pick a copy of this up this weekend and get some.
I have my
Get some.
copy. Still haven't played with it IRL, which is sad. But, I'm sure my time will come.
Okay.
man, this has to be so small because these images keep getting way bigger. Let's just mission. We previewed that. Pilgrimage. Go pilgrimage. There we go. Pilgrimage, $4 event. Costs you 4 to buy. Once per turn, turn your journey token over. Starts face up. Then, if it's face up, choose up to 3 differently named cards that you have in play and gain a copy of each. So, once per turn, and it takes 2 to get anything out of it. On the other hand, you're spending 2 $4 buys to get 3 things that are potentially much better than that.
Yeah. Seems probably usually not great. Because that's a lot of effort. But in a big engine, I'm sure that it's good. You're going to tell me it's like overpowered.
No. I'm laughing at something JSH said, and I'm sorry. Please, please continue.
Yeah, like I'm sure that this will be good in a big engine, you know, reasonably good. I find it hard to believe that it'll. Well, I mean, it'll probably be pretty good in a big engine. Like once you have your engine going. Or once you're getting close, like you can if you have some kind of a dud, you can spend a 4 setting it up. The once per turn probably hurts it.
Yeah,
decent amount.
There were a lot of versions of this that went through playtesting. It didn't used to be once per turn, and when it wasn't once per turn, it still didn't see play a lot of the time.
But sometimes it was really broken.
Yeah. Like you begin taking the conditions away from this, and it becomes more and more broken, obviously. So like once per turn, yeah, that stinks, right? You can rarely get this to work to score points. You need 3 targets to really get the value out of this. Otherwise, why don't you just buy the things? You know.
Right.
Also, the cool interactions, which are exceedingly rare, but like this is actually one of the best ways to just flip your journey token over. So like Ranger, which is the playable card that uses the journey token, like Pilgrimage Ranger is actually really good. So
is Giant really that unplayable? Like I don't imagine that
it's a lot like Pillage. I mean, I did talk about it when we did the first one, but I liken it to Pillage. Yeah, it's just not playable on a lot of boards.
Not really good.
Yeah. And it's similar with Giant. I mean, Pilgrimage Giant maybe, but like really, if I'm relying on Giant, I want 10 of them in my deck, and I want to play 10 every turn. You know, like one flipping your token over is not going to be a big deal. But with Ranger, like it's really important to have your journey token ready to fly, so your Rangers can start drawing. That's the most important thing. So like, this is actually pretty good with that. Anyway, Anyway.
Okay.
But the gaining on this, like. Also, if you're being mirrored, components are going to be scarce enough that you're still going to have trouble getting the full value out of this. That doesn't mean it. It doesn't mean it's not worth it.
It's going to be kind of interesting sometimes, and like
ignorable.
To threaten a 3-pile ending, I like because once I take this, then it's going to be 2 more turns before I can get it again. You know, like. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm sure there will be spots for it, but
it's just very conditional.
Yeah.
So and I mean really, really conditional, just because it's
like
so difficult to get the full value out of it. So I think it's very high skill. I like it too.
Yeah. No, I like really conditional cards, and I think while there's some like Fairy that are just like, oh my god, it's so good. I mean, even that is not monolithic, right? Like you do need to probably play with some nuance. So like I think I'm really gonna like the set, because you have to make a lot of decisions correctly. Like there's a ton of decision space in this set.
Oh yeah, tons of it.
Okay.
First jerseys. Ball.
Oh, I thought it was just like going to be like a big picture of like a giant basketball or something. That'd be great.
Ball, $5 event. Take your minus.
That's the real art. JSH, make it happen.
It's $5 event. Take your -1 token, gain 2 cards, each costing up to 4. So this is more like a stonemason variant, right? You're paying $2 effectively to get an extra gain. Uh, Now this is a little more flexible on cost. Obviously, you can get different costing cards from this, but you can't gain fivers with it. So
Right.
this is, I mean, the biggest synergy I can think of. Um, okay, well, okay, you have spammable cards that are there, and you don't want the fives that much. Obviously, ball is just going to
Sure.
be ridiculous. But like
Yeah.
the cool things is this can gain victory cards. So like slogs,
Yeah.
hello, slogs
Slogs
love this
or
thing.
rushes, maybe.
Hmm.
Like, because if you're going to mirror the slog, it usually comes down to, like, oh, well, I should just rush then.
Yeah, like
But
this is going to be one thing that could enable slogs or rushes that may not have otherwise been viable. I mean, yes, this is probably not going to be as good as Ironworks for gardens, right? I mean, probably not
I
because
don't
you
know.
have
It
to
could be.
hitting five. Like you might not be able to work it in with that. But like if you can build a deck that
Yeah,
hits
that's
five
true.
a lot, I mean, maybe Silk Road can become as powerful as Duke in that kind of a situation because of something like
Sure.
this. So
Yeah, I mean,
that's a
I think
cool thing.
more often it's going to be used for, like, all my components that I want cost
Yeah.
4 or less. It says
Yes.
up to, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's much bigger deal, obviously. But like, you can figure that out by reading the card. Like, oh, I want a lot of cards that cost up to 4. Oh, I like this thing. Like, yes, of course, and obviously that's when it's going to be good most of the time. But I mean, I feel like if you skip over the fact that this can gain victory cards, you're going to lose games
Yeah.
because of that. And then it changes the way you build your deck, right? Which is so cool. Now I want to hit 5 instead of only worrying about hitting 4. That's so cool.
Well, I mean, often though, like, you end up building to where you can hit 5 anyway. Um,
True. Wow.
my gut feeling is that this card probably won't actually be, like, amaze balls strong, but it might be
I mean, it's good. It's not amaze balls, but it's good. Yeah, for sure. What is this?
on the right board, especially. What is what?
This sun that I'm circling with my
They
cursor.
have
That looks.
banners.
Oh man, this one just looks so much better than this one.
Okay.
Raid.
Rage against the machine?
Raid against your opponent. Huh?
Oh.
Whoa! Hey, hey, Google. What are you doing? Anyway, raid $5 event. Gain a silver per silver you have in play. Each other player puts his -1 card token on his deck. -1 card token. I mean, Relic was previewed, right? I know I talked about Relic before. Of course, because it's a card.
Relic was not
But I
previewed.
talked about it. Like -1 card,
Yeah,
yeah,
we,
it's
we, we talked
annoying.
about it when we talked about the cards.
Big money with raid trolling. I mean, it's good when you hit 5. So that's
Is it?
like it's good.
Like, is it really that good?
If you're playing big money, you want to be trolling with raid. Silver Flood's good, and it's better than buying a silver by a lot.
Is it like, well, obviously it's better than buying silver by a lot, and it's got to be better than, like, whatever 5 cost treasure you were going to get. Well, maybe counterfeit, maybe, or ill-gotten gains, but that's not really big money anymore. Like, I don't know. That just seems like it's not a very powerful strategy to me.
True. I mean, that's the best thing I can say about raid. I just said it. It's not very good. So yeah. I mean, there's also like, if you're playing without silver, this is a way you can attack your opponent. I mean, it's not it's not super good, but like, it's an attack, and if you're playing against someone that needs to be attacked so you can slow them down, I mean, $5 in a buy every turn, that's it's probably maybe better than pillage. I don't know,
Hmm.
but yeah, raid is not super strong.
I mean, like, because you're mostly gaining, like, if I have 5, I probably have 2 silvers. If I have 7 somehow, I might have 3, but, like, yeah, that's probably better than a gold, but it's not. Is it that much better than a gold? And if I have 8 or more, I probably want province anyway. Like I don't.
Another thing, this card does have some synergies, so we can talk about. Oh, Fade, I'm great. You can gain a lot of silvers. Um, Traveling Fair actually with Raid is not bad. You can top deck a bunch of silvers and then gain like 80 billion silvers, and then when you're done gaining silvers, you can buy provinces. Like that's a thing. It's
I mean, I
actually
guess
pretty good.
the thing I'm not factoring in so much is like I don't know how much that -1 card hurts. Like that might make it like I mean, obviously it's gonna make it a lot better, but
It's a minion
I don't know
attack.
how much better. Yeah, it's like a minion attack, although in this case they already have their hand. They're probably drawing a card at some point. Like I don't know.
Ooh, storyteller rate. That's pretty good. I remember we were having discussions about like raid and traveling fair because like you can get a ton of silvers in play. You can gain 5 silvers every turn and then like even buy more stuff with traveling fair. Like with a hand of 5 silvers or probably 4, which is more likely, you can still raid, gain 4 silvers, top deck them. And so you
Hmm.
can keep gaining silvers as long as you want, top decking them, and then break for provinces when you feel that's appropriate. So like the Fatum and the Traveling Fair synergies, I think, are a really big deal. Storyteller, there is a synergy there. I mean, it's not Mixinock. He said it. It's not on the screen anymore, but like, it's good.
Hmm.
It's not super good, but it's a thing you can do if you want 1,000,000 silvers. So, anything else to say about our friend here, Raid?
Don't think so.
Cool. We are getting there. I think there's only 4 left, and my fiance's home, so I might be going after that.
Okay.
This Seawait's $5 action. You gain a card costing up to 4, move your +1 buy token to its pile, and then you get a buy whenever you play the card. This is actually gets you more stuff than the other token cards. And that's because buys usually aren't as good as other things, right? But
Yeah.
you get to gain a card, so the opportunity
Yeah.
cost this is much less. I mean, you're paying 5 for a 4, but now you get the buys associated with it.
This seems really strong.
This is
In
way better.
for a lot of engines, like I'm gonna have either some draw card or some village or sometimes just a cantrip that costs 4. Like one of those, and having that be plus buy all the time, like great. Now my plus buy is set basically. Like
This is
it seems
way
really
better
strong
than
still.
getting a woodcutter in your deck
Oh,
for the
like
purpose of plus buy. Like this is so much
enormously.
better,
I mean, it costs 5, but like,
but it
yeah,
doesn't
so what?
really
Like,
cost 5. It costs like
stick it on my.
1.
It's like, yeah, yeah. I have. I mean, it's obviously an engine card, right? This
Hmm.
one particular, like, well, really all of them, right? All of them that give these tokens are very engine-y. Um, I guess the money one you could maybe play in some kind of big money, but like, really, you want to have a lot of actions, so they're engine-y kind of things. But this seems like, a very, very good source of plus buy. Like, if Wharf is on the board, I expect it to outclass this. Like, because you have plenty of buys from the Wharf anyway, and it draws you cards, and it's just so amazing. Like, you're just going to pile out the Wharfs instead. But,
Well, I mean, let's say you
I mean,
you take a $4
at some
card.
point, you might need a village, so you get the village and extra buys don't hurt.
Hmm, I don't think I don't think there's a big problem with the video. The Another way to think of this that I think could be potentially useful is like you take a $4 card and you stick a buy on it, and that card's worth more.
Yeah.
So like that's even less opportunity cost. Seaway comes
Yeah, the
with
opportunity cost is really low. It's just that sometimes, like, I'll put it this way. I don't think it's probably like the most powerful 5 thing. Like, Wharf and Mountebank and like the very top echelon of 5s are probably better. but I imagine this comes in like right below.
This
And obviously
seems
it depends on the
reasonable.
board.
For sure. I mean, this doesn't run into a lot of the problems that the other token cards do, in that you really, really, really want to get a ton of, like, more than 5 of these um, to really get your value out of it. Like, with Seaway, once you get, like, 2 or 3 copies of this Seaway card in play, like, you've gotten
Yeah,
enough value to get use out of it.
right. Because you usually don't need like 20 buys. Like, you know,
If you have 10 and you need 20, you probably are going to win anyway.
there have been times where I was like, I really wish I had like this 13th buy so I could just buy all the curses right now and win.
Sure. That's
But yes, it's obviously it's not a common thing.
So Lost Arts was the one that was previewed, right? I mean, we can just sort of talk about um, all of these token cards at once. So it's the ones we haven't talked about are training and then pathfinding. So we really should be talking about these together. So let's do that.
Sure. Okay.
Training is 6, and you get the dollar token, and pathfinding is 8, and you get the card token. Surprise! Cards are better than dollars.
Um, did anyone like not know that? There, I mean, there are actually cases where that's not true,
Of
but
course.
they're super rare.
I mean, pathfinding costs 8, right? It's way more even in the action, and it needs to, because this is
Yeah.
really good, man. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, you need basically any action supply pile that has +1 action on it, right? And
Pathfinding
then this
is
card,
amazing.
and then this event is very good,
Yeah,
right? Like on the board of all terminals, it's probably bad.
yeah, yeah. But like, I mean, cantrips. Cantrips become labs with additional effects. That's
With whatever,
ridiculous.
this with Pearl Diver, like that's amazing.
It's
Pearl
amazing.
Divers are suddenly very good.
It's amazing. Like this is it's really good, guys. It really is that good. And I mean, you can liken it to Prince because I mean, it sort of is. With with Hireling, like with these kind of cards that can give you these additional effects, like with the high opportunity costs, like
Right.
that kind of
I mean,
opportunity cost can be. You can use that to kind of gauge what it's like to get this card and then be able to play it. I mean, it's a big deal.
mhm, mhm.
Uh, on the other hand, the way you play pathfinding and Lost Arts with the action token, like, and even Seaway, but I mean we've already talked about that. But like those two, you really need to find the right target for it. And so like finding the right target and getting a lot of that target are sort of goals that maybe
That's
can compete sometimes.
that's the trick, right? Because yeah, because your opponent's going to want to do the same thing, right?
For sure. So denial becomes a big deal there. Yeah.
But I think you usually are still going to want to go for the same one.
Hmm.
Like I talked a little bit with Mick about this, and he was like, "Well, I don't know. A lot of times people are like, oh, well, you're going for this one. I'll go for a different one, so that I can have 8 of mine." But I'm like, yeah, but then you're letting them have 8 of theirs. Like, I have to imagine that's worse.
Yeah. If it's a good enough card that that's your number one target, it's
Which he
probably
said
good
was
enough.
very plausible. Just like in his experience, people didn't always do it that way.
I mean, if it's good enough that's the deck you want to build, then it's probably good
Mhm.
enough without pathfinding on it that you want to be buying them anyway to contest your opponent. And then pathfinding is just more punishment if you let that go. So
Well, I mean, maybe, but like, you really gonna want to load up? I mean, Pearl Divers or something, right? Could be a, I don't know.
and Steph brings up an interesting point. This is all two-player specific.
Yeah, yeah. In 3 players, you probably don't want to be on the same thing as 2 other people for sure.
Yeah, and I mean this will exacerbate that issue that kind of already exists for sure.
For
But there's
surezies.
for surezies.
Surezies.
There's a difference though in training though in finding the right target. Training is just something you do when you want more money, and like you just kind of look at your deck and see what cards you have the most of, and then put the dollar token on it. Like I feel like the dollar token plays differently there. Like, oh, this is a way for me to add coin payload to my deck. That's not really gonna be super useful until you're able to gauge like what kind of cards you're gonna have the most of. So like having training on, I mean, it's probably going to be non-terminal because you'll usually have more of those, but like you're not going to like pick a target and contest the target over training money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like training seems to be the weakest. I mean, I don't know Seaway situational, but like the difference between having a few less money doesn't seem like the biggest deal usually. Like, don't get me wrong, you'd rather have maximize it and get a couple more dollars out of your deck, but it seems actually like quite a bit different than the other two that help you build your engine, like the cards and the draw. I don't remember all their names yet, you forgive me, but
They've changed so many times I don't remember them anyway. JSH has a really interesting synergy with these token cards. You can get all 20 rats in your deck, and
yeah,
then you have a deck of 20 rats, and then
that's
you
true.
can get
Hey,
$20 out of your training, and then you can put Seaway on it, gain additional rats, which is also synergy. And then you can just have a big mega turn. Yeah. And then if you have Fortress, you can keep your deck viable. Or you can just mill provinces. Yeah, it's super good. And by super good, I mean awful. So don't do that.
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, these token cards, the one of the kind of sub themes was like make your own card by adding bonuses to cards that already exist. So these are cool things you can do. Just one moment.